6 minutes after the hour, it's Tuesday, my favorite day of the week, February 11th, 2020, 12 degrees outside. Want to welcome you to the award-winning KMMS Morning Soapbox with Tom and Shane, brought to you by the Club Tavern and Grill. They're located in the Best Western Grand Tree on North 7th across from Walmart. Check it out and tell them Tom and Shane sent you down. Shane Tallman, half man, half amazing, on the line in Vancouver, British Columbia. Tom Eagle up, your morning mayor in beautiful downtown Bozeman. And, hey, good morning. Thanks for spending your morning with us.
Indeed. It is. It begins. Now it really begins. I mean, Iowa is now a nightmare past.
Yeah.
And so today it begins in your country. You know, the season is here. It's upon us. There's no music.
Yep.
You notice there's no music, no drums, lots of excitement, lots of money spent. And what is this all about? To pick a president. And so here we go. The first Democratic caucus.
Not
no,
Democratic.
Not
Don't you call that Democratic ever. Stop that.
Demolition parties vote in New
primary.
Hampshire. And Trump dropped in last night, you know, to visit all the folks. Packed house. In the Sununu, Sununu Stadium. 20-some thousand people inside, another 10 or 12,000 outside.
Yeah.
It's amazing, you know. Like, I mean, do you realize? I don't know if you knew this or not. I didn't know. Iowa, 170,000 people voted. That's it.
Yeah, that's all.
No, but they couldn't count 170,000.
You and I could count that many.
I mean, there's more votes in Coquitlam, BC, than in Iowa.
I know. No, everybody.
And we do it with a pencil and a piece of paper, a golf pencil.
Everybody stayed at home, sat on their hands.
They did. I can't wait to see, what is it, South Carolina? I keep telling you this. I want to see what the turnout is there like for the African American vote. That's going to be interesting.
Well,
okay, that's how I am.
Okay, that's what they're wondering on that score. What South Carolina's going to do, or the Trump's making inroads into the black vote, and that's got Democrats worried as well, because that's always been their base, even though they've ignored them, kicked them to the curb time after time, and courted the Hispanics like they were, you know, their own kids.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah,
blacks are the stepchildren out on the, in the back room somewhere.
Well, that's right. But, you know, the demolition party would rather dance with the Mexicans than with the African Americans.
Yeah.
They like that.
Well, they're now the largest minority, so they've got to go after them, since the blacks are boarding every black that comes along. So, unfortunately for them, you know, maybe they'll learn one of these days.
And in not too rare numbers. I mean, in consistent numbers. So it's sad.
That's the really sad part. Absolutely. Well, let's talk a little bit about some weather, because we've got some. We got a 50% chance of snow, mainly between 11 and 2 p.m. today, increasing clouds. We're looking for a high today of around 35 degrees. That should be kind of nice. But we are going to have wind chill values as low as 5 below. So be careful out there. If you're working outside, make sure all you're covered up well. And total snow accumulation less than half an inch, probably as possible. Tonight, snow likely, mainly after 11 p.m., mostly cloudy with a low around 20, and chance of precip 70%. New snow around an inch is possible tonight. And then on Wednesday, 50% chance of snow again, mostly before 11 o'clock. Cloudy, then gradually becoming sunny with a high near 31. And new snow accumulation of less than half an inch is possible. Okay. You okay? Jeez. You couldn't mute yourself?
Sorry, my apologies. I thought I turned the mic off.
No, you didn't.
Clearly I didn't.
No, clearly you didn't. So, all right. Let's see. Where was I?
In the middle of the weather report.
I know, but I don't remember what day I was on. Let's see. I think I was on Wednesday, maybe. Let's see. Yeah, Wednesday, new snow accumulation of less than half an inch is possible. Wednesday night, mostly cloudy with a low around 15 and calm winds. Thursday, partly cloudy with a high near 39. And Thursday night, 30% chance of snow after 11 p.m. and low around 24 degrees. New snow accumulation on Thursday night, less than half an inch is possible. Then on Friday, we got a 50% chance of snow, mostly cloudy with a high near 35. And new snow accumulation of less than 1 inch is possible there. Friday night, again, slight chance of snow, no accumulation there. And Saturday, again, slight chance of snow, no accumulations listed. And then Saturday night, chance of snow mainly after 11 p.m., but again, no measurements listed. And then on Sunday, slight chance of snow again, mostly cloudy with a high near 38, and a slight chance of snow Sunday night with a low around 21. And again on Wednesday, Washington's birthday, or Monday rather, Washington's birthday. Slight chance of snow, mostly cloudy, high near 35. Temperatures around the area right now, Livingston is 16 degrees, Manhattan is 4 degrees, Three Forks is 7, Gallatin Gateway is 4, Big Sky is 2, West Yellowstone is 15 below, Gardner is 4 below, Ennis is 8 degrees, and at the Belgrade Airport, rather, it's 3 degrees. We're right at 13 degrees here. That's a big discrepancy for just being 8 miles away, so I'm not sure how much faith I have in that temperature. But road conditions, they're not good. They're not good no matter where you want to go. If you're going over to Billings from Livingston, you'll get some clear through Big Timber down to almost getting to Columbus, but other than that, it's nasty all the way. Nasty all the way from Livingston to Butte. So if you're going that direction, Phillipsburg up to Missoula, no dice. Three Forks up to Helena, nope, not good. Homestake Pass, Bozeman Hill, all are bad. And got areas of frost and ice all over the place. We've got wet and scattered snow and ice all the way. Livingston down to Gardner, not good. 191, of course, not good. Clear down to Ennis, but after about halfway to the west, you'll run into some nasty weather there. So if you don't have to go anywhere today, it's a good idea not to. So don't do that. So, and let's see, our poll question from yesterday, which decade has or had the best movies? And 36% of you said the 1980s, time of Die Hard, Terminator, Back to the Future. And 21% like the 1950s with war movies and westerns. And 10% like the 2000s with Spider-Man and Dark Knight and Iron Man. And then 1% like, or 5% like the 1930s and the 1940s and the 1970s and the 1990s. Nobody liked the 1960s coming-of-age movies. Frankie and Annette, come on. What's
well, we believe you because you're not a lying dog-faced pony.
Well, no, I don't think so. One listener liked the current movies, great true story films, and another one liked all of the above. So I'm kind of with that. I kind of like all of them. It's hard to pick a decade because movies evolved over time and special effects and all those things.
Yeah,
you know, it depends on what you like. You know,
the 40s was the best decade of movies for script.
Yeah.
And editing came in,
Mm-hmm.
and the actors were incredible.
Mm-hmm.
And so the storylines were all, they were, comedies, romantic comedies. And then the 50s were the big blowout in Hollywood, color and musicals and stages. And, and the 60s was, gee, what are we going to make movies about now? And so,
Mm-hmm.
they started to go to books and redo books. And then like you said, the 70s was sort of a search of, coming out of the Vietnam War and everything, war movies, and then all of a sudden in the 80s, this thing holds the computer started impacting it, and oh my gosh, you got all these incredible alien movies and all kinds of things, and on it went. So yeah, it's just it's remarkable how it's evolved.
It really has, yeah, pretty amazing.
The problem is Hollywood keeps destroying their brand.
Yeah, I know. Lowest watched Oscars ever.
Yeah, 20% down from last year. And you know what? People turned it off at the red carpet because they had that guy in drag.
Oh,
you didn't see it?
I didn't watch it.
Oh, they had this African American guy was like 6'7" feet, 6'7", I mean, tall, big. Yeah. In this gold lame dress that looked like a tent.
Yeah.
Okay. And it's a family show, supposedly.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what happened. Everyone turned their televisions off.
Apparently so. Well, and how many people watched it, that's for sure. Our poll question today, will Trump be the first president to be impeached twice? What do you think, Shane? Will he be the first president to be impeached twice?
No, the others have been impeached more than once, but they will impeach him.
Yeah, we talked about that before. I guess we talked about impeachment before. He probably won't be the first president to be impeached twice. Yeah, I forgot about that. So.
Yeah, they tried to impeach Grant 4 times.
Yeah, so. And
lots of presidents have had articles of impeachment brought up in the House, but never passed.
Yeah.
But there's not a president of your country that should have been impeached. Seriously, I mean, you can't go back and there's just too many examples. Well, based upon what the Congress thought this was. These articles said. I mean, abuse of power. I mean, Lincoln suspended habeas corpus.
I was going to say, if that's not abuse of power, I'm not sure what is. If you could just open a law book and scratch out part of it.
That's right. And a dozen of your presidents closed the newspapers and arrested reporters.
Sure.
They used the FBI. They used the IRS. Oh, my God. It goes on.
I tell you, man, it's,
They were all very much involved in the public concern and wanting to make sure they got reelected because they were the best thing for the public.
Well, right now, 57% in early voting say yes, they're out to get him no matter what, and 14% said no, they tried it once, time to move on, and some other answers. They have a severe case of Trump derangement syndrome. They will try as long as they have the House. No, it's a waste of time. Even if he deserved, Republicans are his puppets anyway. He was wrong and broke the law. Yes, unless we vote them all out. So,
well, I don't think Americans want to hear from Mr. Shifty Shift again. Pencil neck.
Yeah, well, they'll have to have somebody else. Maybe somebody else will be more successful the next time they try to do it. I don't know. Anyway, we got to take a break here because our farmers, ranchers, and everybody, we've got the Headwaters Livestock Report and the Ag Report, and we'll be right back right after this. Stay tuned. 26 minutes after the hour, it's Tuesday. God, I just noticed it's Tuesday, Shane.
Your favorite day.
My favorite day of the week. Yeah, right. Well, it is Tuesday. It's February 11th, 2020, 14 degrees outside. The New Hampshire primary is going on. People are headed to the polls to vote. We've already had the first returns from some off-the-wall place that votes at midnight, I think. They got like 6 people in that precinct or something like that. I don't know. They all turn out and have a beer and vote. And Klobuchar and what's his name from New York, Bloomberg, are the 2 front runners in that little soiree so far.
Isn't that amazing?
Yeah.
And Bloomberg didn't even go there.
I know.
I'm amazed he's on the ballot, but I guess he paid to put himself on.
I think they wrote him in. I think he had 2 write-in votes or something like that. So.
Well, after that rally last night, I'm very curious to see how many people in New Hampshire turn out to vote for Trump because he's got a primary too, right?
I don't know.
Yeah, he does.
Okay. Well, I guess so. I guess they will. So
We'll see.
yeah, I guess I guess there's primaries for both parties. I don't know.
And New Hampshire's favorite senator, who voted for witnesses in a Republican and up Susan Collins.
Yeah.
He didn't even mention her last night when he was there.
Yeah, I know. Yeah.
He mentioned every other Republican in the state but her.
Yeah.
That can't help out.
Well, she's in Maine.
Yeah, I know. I'm being facetious.
I know you are. All right. Let's see. Guess what, Shane? The debt per citizen in the United States is $70,675. The assets per citizen in the United States, $443,595.
Well, it's sort of nice to wake up to your morning coffee to know exactly how much you owe.
That's right, and how much, and what your assets are,
and what you're worth.
Yeah. Well, the markets are up. They're back above 29, and so I got a raise in pay today, Shane. Gas prices went down another nickel, so I got a raise.
Right.
So, yeah.
Crude oil in West Texas is 50.58, and Brent in Europe is 54.53. Yeah. So yeah, it's interesting.
Yeah. Coming down.
And the amazing thing is the euro. It's down to $1.08.
Yeah.
So it's dropped 2 basis points in the last 4 days. So, wow, we haven't seen it there for a very long time.
Yeah. We got a caller waiting on the line,
Yes,
Shane.
sir.
I got to take a break here at the bottom of the hour. So if you'll chat with them, please, we'll be back with more great news and all kinds of stuff this morning. Jeff Krauss will join us at 8 o'clock. We're also going to be giving away some tickets to the Bozeman Magazine Annual Award Banquet. So we'll be giving away several tickets to that. So stay tuned. We'll be right back. 25 minutes for the top of the hour. It's Tuesday, February 11th, 2020, 14 degrees. Welcome to the KMMS Morning Soapbox with Tom and Shane, brought to you by the Club Tavern and Grill. They're in the Grand Tree Best Western on 7th, across from Walmart. It's where the locals go. Tell them Tom and Shane sent you in. Shane, what's going on?
I got a public service announcement.
Okay.
What a great call. This gentleman called to say he was in Bozeman last night. Sitting in the back of his Jeep at 8 o'clock, and
someone in a white pickup truck ran into his car and drove away, hit and run. So he wants to know that he's got the person's license plate number and would like to get the guy to reach out to him because he'd rather just settle and resolve it peaceably, without calling the police.
Okay.
There you go. How cool is it?
Repeat the first part of that because you were breaking up. I had to move you over to the phone. The Skype was breaking up a little bit.
Oh. Okay, so this gentleman...
Where was this? Where was this?
Bozeman.
Well, where in Bozeman?
He didn't want to say it.
Okay.
So at 8 o'clock, his Jeep was hit by a white pickup truck who drove away, and he was in the Jeep and got his license plate number, and he'd like to work it out with the guy. So the guy knows who he is. So get in touch with him, settle it. Doesn't want to call the police with his license plate number.
Okay. Sounds like a deal. Hey, another public service from KMMS. Thank you very much.
We get all kinds of calls. This is amazing.
That we do. I love it. Hey, yeah.
Welcome here, folks. Like everything, okay?
That's right. Yeah. From our rebroadcast, our podcast, I should say. We, for those of you who don't know, we record all of our shows, and they're available on our app at AM 1450 KMMS or online at KMMSAM.com. Don't forget the AM, KMMSAM.com. And right now we're at 3,175 downloads of our 327 shows that we've done so far. So we're happy to promote that. And we're, of course, shooting for 4,000. So that should be coming up soon. So we're approaching 3,200 now. Shouldn't be too long before we reach 4,000 downloads.
Yeah, before spring forwarding.
Yeah. Well, that'll be March 8th. So we're going to have to rock and roll through February if we're going to be there by March 8th. But hopefully our listeners will download our shows. So we really appreciate that very much, that people care enough to do that. And they're commercial free. So you just get us, Tom and Shane, the callers and the texters. Yeah. And the app chatters. Yeah.
And the mayor's lovely voice.
And my luscious voice, yeah.
When are you giving those? When is the event that you get your big...
Saturday night.
Oh, my
Saturday
God.
night, the 15th, I'll be at the Grand Tree, and along with the other folks, I guess, or whoever can be there. The XL Country guys have previous engagements, so they aren't not going to be there. But, if you want to stop in and say hi. Always glad to meet people that listen to us. So you can complain, or you can get right in my face and complain if you want.
People like me will bow to you, oh great one.
I'm sure they will. I'm sure they will. Yeah, right. Yeah. Yeah. If they don't hit and run.
Yeah, that's right.
They'll do that. So.
Yeah.
Let's see what else is going on. Gosh, I guess we should probably do some stuff here for
You're the man. Your show.
The listener's edification. Well, if we went over to this day in history,
Maggie Thatcher, they have her up today.
Maggie,
the Iron Lady, British conservative stateswoman, changed England forever.
Yeah.
From the war, 45, and until she was elected in 1979, England was, moving towards socialism rapidly. She made one big change. And the big change was the row housing they'd built for 40 years. Remember that, the government
brownstones or whatever they.
Yeah, in London,
took them into New York, actually. So
that's right, and they turned them over to the people living in them, and allowed them to acquire them for the equivalent of about $15,000. Because she wanted them to have a dog in the fight, as she said. You can't understand government if you're not involved.
That's for sure. Yeah.
Those people created huge wealth because of that, and had an equity play in England, and she survived. An attempted assassination in '84 at the Brighton hotel bombing. She took on the unions because of where they had moved to in England. She took on the Conservative Party to do what they said they would and hold them accountable. She won the Falcon War, against Argentina. She was a pretty powerful gal. It's amazing that a country would have two states people in one century, Winston Churchill and Margaret Thatcher, because she was definitely one of the first great stateswomen of the 20th century, and one of three women that became leaders of their countries, Indira Gandhi and, of course, Golda Meir. All three started and won wars, so you be careful out there. You like a woman.
That's right. Yeah.
They're not forgiving. They're tough.
Yeah, 1975, she became the first woman to head a major party in Britain when she was elected leader of the opposition Conservative Party. And she's famous for saying socialism works until you run out of other people's money.
That's right.
So,
you're a man of history.
I know that stuff. Hey, I'm more than just a luscious voice here,
Yeah, I know.
All right. Well, I got to use my luscious voice to take a break because we got to pay some or get paid, I guess. So we'll be right back. Stay tuned. 17 minutes for the top of the hour. Shaman Taubman, half man, half amazing on the line. Tommy Goloff, your morning mayor. Jeff Krauss will join us at 8 o'clock. This is the award-winning KMMS Morning Soapbox with Tom and Shane, brought to you by the Club Tavern and Grill on North 7th in the Best Western Grand Tree. And same old thing from our text line, 478-8298. Same old thing, streaming not working this morning again. Radio Pup is not working. We're having some issues with Radio Pup, but our KMMS AM.com and AM 1450 KMMS should be working. You're getting a stream, are you not, Shane?
Sure, but, we could talk to Jeff about it, and his puppy, he might know. Mouse might know the answer.
Well, he might, yeah.
He might know what Radio Pup is up to.
Yeah, I don't know, but yeah, Radio Pup. We don't. We had a problem with that yesterday, and the GM texted us all and let us know that they were having an issue with that. We're doing some rewiring of the building here too, and that's sometimes causes an issue somewhere along the line. So but hey, supposedly that's going to be better.
Yeah,
I don't know.
Just for context for everyone listening. Tom's comment about rewiring is like redoing all the drywall.
That's pretty much it. Yeah, they're I don't know. They're crawling around under the tables and everything, trying to figure out what wire goes where.
Props out to the United Automobile Workers. Big news. Mm-hmm. Detroit, Michigan. They have right now 391,000 active members, and more. But this is interesting. More than 580,000 retired members who get all these benefits. These are those unfunded benefits, but they're still getting them. 600 local unions, and they hold 1,150 contracts with some 1,600 employers. And for the first time in 30 years, their membership is growing under your president. Wow. Imagine that.
Wow. All right. Well, let's see, from our text line, with even Amy Klobuchar rising in the polls and Joe Biden not expected to be a front runner in New Hampshire, should we stick a fork in touchy-feely badass Biden because he's done? Well, venerable political sages, is Joe Little Robin Biden finished?
Yes.
Yeah,
but I said that in November. I also said November be an open convention, so that's where March 5th will decide all this.
Yeah,
Super Tuesday.
Yeah, Super Tuesday will be the big deciding factor if anybody rises to the top anyway. Or
1,500 delegates in 15 states, and Bloomberg is on top of it.
Yeah, he's been spending. I don't know, the number keeps growing day by day, how much he's spending.
150 million now, heading to 250 million.
Yeah, so I don't know, it's a lot. So, I think Biden put a final nail in his coffin yesterday with that stupid joke that he said to the woman, some catchphrase from some obscure movie nobody ever watched.
John Wayne movie.
Yeah. Way back when. Showing his age, I guess.
Well, yeah, but the reference was from a movie from the 1950s, but the woman asked him a question about Iowa and the caucus. And he walked up to her because they're in New Hampshire, and he said, "You ever been to a caucus?" Yeah. And she didn't respond. He goes, "You lying dog-faced horse.
Pony
right?
soldier, yeah.
Pony soldier.
Yeah.
You don't know what it's like being out here." But it's on tape.
Yeah, I would say he's, if that didn't put a nail in his coffin in New Hampshire, he'll be lucky to be fourth. If
it's the people keeping him running. It's elder abuse. Really, seriously. Yeah. This is elder abuse.
Senior citizen elder abuse. I like that.
It's total elder abuse. I can't. How can these people, because they all want a paycheck, Tom, right? That's all it is.
That's it, I guess so. Let's see, from our text line, 478-8298, your app is fine. I think Shane obviously is getting it as well. As I say, Radio Pup, we've had some issues with them. Download our AM 1450 KMMS app. You can just click on the listen button for that. And no sweat there. You also have a call button. You just push the call button. It says, "Do you really want to call 522-TALK?" You can say, "Yes, I do." And boom, you're here. Also, you can get our podcasts. There's a podcast button. You can get all our podcasts. Everything works great on the app. Yeah.
The only other guy in history I want to mention is Khalid Sheikh Mohammed.
Yeah.
Now, we all know who he is. It's not, But I've hated this guy because he's got the same initials as I do. KSM.
Yeah.
And it's like I can't use my initials anywhere anymore.
Yeah.
They look at me like, you don't look Arab. Oh, I'm not. I'm Irish Italian. Give me a break
Yeah.
here.
Yeah, definitely a bad guy. Didn't they waterboard him like 140 times or something like that before he would give up any info?
Yeah, after
like
several burps.
Yeah. Yeah, they charged him with murder and war crimes in connection with the September 11 attacks. He was supposedly one of the primary planners of that. And
yeah, and remember, we talked about this scandal years ago when this happened, when they caught him, back in 2003. And I remember us talking about it, and I said to you, Tom, you're head of the country, and a guy comes in and says, we got to waterboard this guy because we think there, might be a nuclear attack. And I said, would you waterboard him? And we had that conversation. I said, yes, absolutely.
Oh, yeah, of course.
Yeah. But I can't believe, yeah, it's amazing. You talk about these serious issues, and this gets back to this thing I mentioned the other day. Get out of Afghanistan. Homeland Security's got $200 billion budget to save and protect the homeland.
Yeah.
This sad story of we got to fight them there because if not, we'll fight them. Please end it. Get done with it. Finish it.
Yeah, right. All right, we got to take another quick break. Don't go anywhere. Jeff Krauss will join us at 8 o'clock. We're also got some basketball tickets we're going to give away. And also I've got some tickets for the Bozeman Magazine award banquet at the Grand Tree coming up this Saturday. So we'll be doing all of that in the next hour. So stay tuned. We'll be right back. 7 minutes for the top of the hour. It's Tuesday, February 11th, 2020. 13 degrees outside. Shane Taubman, half man, half amazing on the line. Tom Eagle, your morning mayor. This is the KMMS Morning Soapbox with Tom and Shane. And John Dingell, 53 years in service in the Congress. Wow.
Yeah, and he passed away, and his wife took over his spot.
Yeah.
Yeah, so she's up for election. This week in history is great because you and Jeff are going to talk about local stuff for an hour when he gets in at 8 o'clock. But the one thing that I found interesting about it was two things. The prosecutors, they want to give 7 to 9 years to Roger Stone. I mean, I don't get it. This whole thing about process crimes, meaning they didn't have anything on him. They arrested him, and then because they claim he lied to him after they arrested him, it's a process crime. They created the crime to arrest him, and now they want to put him in prison for 9 years. But the fascinating story out of New York I found yesterday was your president let go 85 people from the National Security Agency and the White House staff. They're holdovers from Obama, and apparently he racked it up to 320 people in the NSA in the White House staff, to flood it with people. And I don't think he did anything about it because of all the investigation he was under, and he didn't want to be accused, of a Saturday night massacre.
Right. Yeah.
Well, it's coming now because he's going to reduce it. His new chief of staff is going to reduce it to down to like 70 people, 75 people.
Yeah.
But can you imagine loading a staff, and they all have to get paid?
Mm-hmm. That's true. Yeah. So
Obama had a national security staff of like 300 people the last month of his presidency. Wow, what a story that was. But you don't hear it in the press, but you hear it here. That's a good thing.
That's for sure. From our text line, 478-8298. So Trump went through all the hassles of an impeachment hearing and trial, and the Democrats wasted all those taxpayer dollars on the process as well, and Joe Biden won't even make it out of the primaries. President Trump, next time you go through all that hassle to investigate a political rival, please make sure it's the right candidate.
That's right. It's so funny. It's a famous word in politics, projection. The demolition party, goes after him for 4 years, and he's their political rival.
Yeah.
But he says something about the Bidens and all those. You're attacking a political Yeah. I have to sit back and laugh because I don't have a dog in the fight. but I want to thank you because it's a great privilege to be able to have the opportunity to share with you this time and for us to talk about it and keep everybody up to huff with everything that's going on because a lot's going on.
I tell you, there's no better time in the 20 years I've been on the air here to this is the best.
It is. It's crazy.
Yeah. The only thing better was not having Chris sit here when Trump won.
That was tough.
But I was here for that too. So, in fact, that was a hard morning, man. I stayed up till 2 a.m. watching the thing end finally. And
we mentioned the primary this morning, that they're doing today in New Hampshire, but it's going to be really, because remember they started with 24 people.
Oh yeah.
Oh, the other good news: Booker's up for election this year as a senator from New Jersey, right?
Right.
Did I tell you this yesterday?
No.
He's got. Guess how much money he has left over from his run for president for his Senate campaign? $6 million. $6 million.
He's got $6 million. Well, he should win hands down. Then you should be able to buy. You should be able to buy New Jersey for $6 million.
Well, the point is, we talked about how they all were running to raise money, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
It's like Bennett from Colorado. He's got something like 12 million still.
Wow. And he's still in there, I think. He's still running, or thinks he is.
Yeah,
anyway.
But he's up for re-election this year too.
Yeah. From our text line 478-8298, Biden's a dog-faced donkey. So,
very good.
Donkey
nice
soldier, I guess, maybe, whatever.
Donkey.
So, yeah. But anyway.
Well, the amazing thing is millennials don't even know who John Wayne is.
Well, that could be very true. That could be very true. They may not know who he is.
Yeah, because there's that movie, isn't it Saving Los Angeles or something, where it's being attacked by aliens and these Marines are trying to get people out. And there's a scene where the guy blows up a bunch of aliens, jumps on the bus to drive away, and a guy says to him, "Gosh, that was so John Wayne." And a guy across from him, holding a gun, hiding in the bus, looks at him and goes, "Who's John Wayne?"
Yeah, right. Yeah.
That's so amazing. I love it.
Yeah, it's sad when history just evaporates in front of us, And
well, if you wait till at the end of the movies when you see all the credits, if you sit there and wait, which in some movies, particularly Disney movies, because they have other scenes, right?
Yeah.
For the next prequel or whatever. But if you watch the credits go by, the last credits at the very end on the far left is the number of movies, the number of the movie you just saw.
Right. Yeah.
So it's like 54,000.
Mm-hmm.
So, in the last 120 years, Hollywood's produced like 54,000 movies. That's a lot.
That seems like a low number for the number they put out every year. Yeah. I would think it'd be closer to 58,000 a year than it would.
Bollywood in India is catching up. I think they're at 38,000 or something.
All right.
Yeah, big industry there.
All right, we got to go. And coming up at 8 o'clock, Jeff Krauss will be with us. Next hour, we're going to give away some basketball tickets. Also, we're going to give away some tickets to our gala coming up this Saturday, the Bozeman Magazine Award Banquet, who will be Saturday at the Grand Tree. So we want to give away some tickets to that. So we'll be back right after these important words. Stay tuned. Thank you, Dan. Welcome back, everyone. It's 6 minutes after the hour of 7 a.m. It's Tuesday, February 11, 2020, 14 degrees outside. We're looking for a high of 35 degrees today. Welcome to the KMMS Morning Soapbox with Tom and Shane. Shane Matobin, half man, half amazing in Vancouver, British Columbia. Tom Eaglehoff, your morning mayor in the house. And we're brought to you by the Club Tavern and Grill, located in the Best Western Grand Tree on North 7th. And Shane has a point of order. Whoops.
The global box office for Hollywood is around $42 billion, 41.7 billion. And when you include home entertainment revenue, it jumps to $136 billion.
Yeah.
So that's a huge jump. You were right about the movies. 1,813 feature films produced annually, and 2.6 billion tickets are sold annually in the United States for moviegoers. So that's like, people, that 330 million people in your country. There's 10 shows they go and see a year.
Yeah.
That's pretty good.
Once a month at least, yeah. So,
but why did they want to ruin their brand? It's so weird.
Because they live in their own little bubble. They do. You don't gravitate. You could be a great actor, but if you're the wrong ideology, you're not going anywhere. And, a lot of these people hang out together, they party together, they go to the same, they have the same charities they attend, they eat in the same places, they just gravitate to each other. And isn't that what we kind of all do? Don't we, we don't spend a whole lot of time around people that make us uncomfortable or that, that we want to be able to have a conversation with rather than them screaming, get out of the restaurant because you're wearing the wrong hat or something like that.
It just doesn't make any sense. I mean, if it wasn't for capitalism and what's right about our country and your country, they wouldn't be making $20 million a movie. I mean, Sunday night when they went to the governor's ball after the Academy Awards, they all got a gift bag. You know what it was worth?
Oh yeah, there's hundreds.
$220,000. Yeah, 200.
Oh yeah.
They all bought Rolex watches.
Like they need it. Yeah, like they
need it. Yeah, exactly.
Like I need another Rolex. Holy crap.
Yeah. Anyway, there's 17 countries now that have modern film industries that, China, India, the United Kingdom, of course, France, Nigeria, Egypt, Iran, Japan, Korea, Hong Kong, Turkey, Pakistan, Bangladesh.
Oh, yeah.
Look at the film industry. Indonesia, Trinidad and Tobago, Nepal, and, of course, Canada, because our dollar is 32% cheaper. So you can come here and film for far less. Australia as well.
Yeah. Well, didn't Georgia just say you've got to sign an agreement you're going to be favorable to Israel or otherwise you can't film here?
That's right.
I think that was on the news earlier this morning. Yeah. So.
Yeah, and then what was it? North Carolina or South Carolina or something? When they didn't want to put in special bathrooms, basketball pulled out of being there.
There's a bunch of
boycotted states for political reasons. People in industries that make vast amount of money should not get involved in politics.
No, I don't think so. Yeah.
Bad marketing, bad branding. Yeah.
Well, it is. It's just like us. That's why all views are welcome here.
Right.
We wouldn't have the ratings we have if only conservatives listen to us. So this is a business. It's not a platform for us to, stand up and say, "Hey, we're on the right side. You're all on the wrong side."
Yeah, and it has to be somewhat interesting. Because just by reading the definition of a bigot, intolerant of other people, all of a sudden, if you know the definition of a word and you're sitting there watching the news and stuff and you go, wow, Tom and Shane are right. These people are really bigots. They're just totally intolerant,
Any view that we oppose is we're not going to listen to it. We're not going to explore it. We're not going to learn more about it. We're not going to do anything to make it... we're just not going to expose ourselves to it, and we won't tolerate anyone else that does. So.
Yeah, that's just bigotry. It's crazy.
Well, it is, yeah. So, All right.
Anyway, it's a great week, and we're having really fun. We had a marvelous Monday, folks. We got lots of calls yesterday, so pick up that phone, pick it up, push that button on our app, and call in.
Yeah, there you are. From our text line, 478-8298, a jury found Stone guilty on all 7 charges of lying to Congress, obstruction of justice, witness tampering, President Trump's longtime advisor, Roger Stone. Trump cult live in their own bubble, too. Talk radio, Fox News, gravitate to each other, afraid to hear other views. Well, there are plenty of other views available if you want them. MSNBC has them, NBC has them, CNBC has them, so does ABC, CBS, and watch any late show, and you'll be informed.
But the three stooges, Clapper, Brennan, and Comey, they all did that, and they didn't get charged.
Not yet, anyway. Yeah. They can't show our movies anymore. Soft porn. Well, that's probably, I don't know. They are getting a little more. I don't know. I think the movies kind of went to hell when language made its ugly head, and the F word every 10 seconds or something like that. I think that's when we kind of lost our innocence, and maybe it's more realistic, but I don't know. It gets old after a while in every film,
Well, and bad language is slang, and slang is a lack of knowledge of your own language. So it's a beautiful language, and it's a language of the world.
I was gonna say, there's 8 words I can't say, but we seem to get the point across. I don't know if we ever make it to the internet. Who knows?
Yeah, our secret, Tom, is we have to read a page of the dictionary every day, right?
That's right, yeah. All right. Let's go to the phones. 522-TALK is the number. Calling you on the air. What's going on?
Good morning.
Hey.
I'd like to know, I heard a little story yesterday while I was at work, while I was listening to your different shows on the radio.
Yeah.
About Mike Bloomberg.
Yeah.
They were saying that he is a person who really does not have good sense when it comes to cross-dressers going into girls' locker rooms.
Well, that could be.
I heard that, and I'm wrenching away, and I heard that, and I stopped, I go,
I just love it.
I need to know. Is this for sure? Is this really happening?
Well, it wouldn't surprise me. Shane may have heard it. I didn't hear it. But...
No, I'm not going there, baby. Not today. It's a Tuesday. It's too early in the week.
Yeah. Well,
I think Mini Mike has a lot more problems like straws and large cokes and stop and frisk and $32 billion education budget for New York City that doesn't seem to do anything for the children. No books, no paper, no. So I know being a father and having a daughter, I would become so unglued, they'd probably put me away in prison for killing the son of a bitch. Well, did you watch the Oscars?
That's the truth.
Did you watch the Oscars Sunday night?
I don't watch that stuff.
Okay. I was just curious to know if you watched the red carpet and that guy in that black gold lame dress that was 6 feet tall. I mean, it's unbelievable.
Well, I do have a quote.
I got another one for you.
Go ahead.
I was a security guard, and I was stationed in front of a staircase for a Democratic convention. Mm-hmm. And my orders were, for anybody to go up that staircase, you had to have the right ID.
Yeah.
The senator comes up to me with the wrong ID. I told him, go down to the information booth and get the right ID. You can go up there. I don't know what's up there. I really don't care. But he says, no. Do you know who the F I am? I go, no. Do you know who the F I am? I'm the security guard here. You make the rules. You live by them and go get the information, and then you can go up.
Yeah.
He disappeared.
Yeah.
So I'm that's the type of person I am. I play the rules right down to the T. So anyway, you guys have a good day.
All right. Hey, thanks for the call.
Don't forget to dot your I's.
Yeah. I do have a quote from Mike Bloomberg when he was mayor. 95% of murderers and murder victims fit one MO. You can just take a description, Xerox it, and pass it out to all the cops. They are male, minorities, 16 to 25. That's true in New York. That's true in virtually every city. And that's where the real crime is. You've got to get the guns out of the hands of people that are getting killed. So one of the unintended consequences is people say, oh, my God, you're arresting kids for marijuana that are all minorities. Yes, that's true. Why? Because we put all the cops in minority neighborhoods, Bloomberg is heard to say on the recording. Yes, that's true. Why do we do it? Because that's where all the crime is. And the way you get the guns out of the kids' hands is to throw them up against the wall and frisk them. And then start, I don't want to get caught. So they don't bring the gun. They still have a gun, but they leave it at home. That's Mike Bloomberg in talking about being mayor of New York. So let's take another call. Caller, you're on the air. Thanks for waiting. What's up?
It's your other brother, Jerry.
Okay, Jerry, how you doing?
Okay, how did this guy get so much money?
Oh, yeah.
I mean, the guy's sharp as a turd cut with a club, you know?
Yeah.
I mean, come on. Where does he come up with this stuff?
Jane?
Well, he was a successfully business guy. He was the first guy to come up with accessing the internet with a financial instrument that brokerage firms used. And it was the Bloomberg box where they could access information. And
that's where he got his money.
That's where he got his money, and he got it into every brokerage firm on the Dow Jones across New York City, and then it started expanding across your country back in the 80s, 90s, and of course he got monthly recurring income from that, and then he started the Bloomberg News Service around the world. So yeah, he's and Forbes has him now at 61 billion. He's worth 61. This guy's big. He's big time. He's
up there for sure.
It's going to be Hillary and Bloomberg's billions, against Trump.
Yeah.
He sure has some pretty stupid ideas politically.
Well, he was the one that invented the stop, question, and frisk, and it cleaned up New York, and now he's apologizing for it.
That's right.
Yeah. I'm sorry I cleaned up New York.
Yeah.
Well,
he was a Republican turned Democrat, so.
Right.
I don't know.
Wishy-washy. Okay, so back up a little bit. The one thing about the left you always have to remember is intolerance will no longer be tolerated.
That's
okay?
right.
Okay.
That's right. Absolutely right.
There you have it. All right, guys, have a good day.
Thanks for the call. All right. All right. We got to pay, or we got to get out of here. We don't have to pay any bills. People pay us. I don't know why I say that. I got to quit saying that. Anyway. We've got to take a short break. We'll be back in 90 seconds. 21 minutes after the hour of 7 o'clock. We've got a caller patiently waiting on the line. Let's go to the phones. Caller, you are on the air. What's going on?
I can't do it. Daniel R. Peterson, you told me yesterday, stay positive.
Stay positive, Daniel. You'll feel better.
Well, yeah, it didn't help that somebody texted and said that what I had reported on Voice of Montana it was either a half-truth or...
Daniel, let's not go here. We talked about this every time you call. We like calling. What did you want to talk about today that you read about, learned about, or want to tell us about?
I don't want to be a martyr. People are...
Well, don't be. So talk about something you learned.
Well, all right. I did do some research this morning that they are questioning whether child molesters are any more have a higher recidivism rate than any other type of criminal. They're just a real... No, they don't. Look it up. I just looked it up at the computer a few minutes ago. A lot of people have bad attitude toward child molesters, but there's no proof.
They have good reason.
What?
They have good reason to have a bad attitude against convicted child molesters.
Well, they have a bad attitude against mass drug sellers. They do a larger swath of harm than a child molester. So some of these things they don't like me to talk about, but it's this searching for truth. What's wrong with talking about things? And then the other thing I researched that Bernie has said that the military budget here is 12 times that of all the next biggest nations in the world. Even I thought that was a little extreme, but the Peter Peterson Institute, which is you probably know because it's a very well-respected economics study, says that it's 7 times. The United States pays 7 times for its military budget than the next 7 countries in the world. It's a loaded budget for the military. All I do is ask to it be cut back. I didn't ask it to be defunded. I want it to be cut back. Can I speak my truth?
Sure.
Well, yeah, sure.
But there's no reason to cut it back because, and I'll give you an excellent reason. It provides a tremendous amount of jobs to United States citizens.
Well, what do you think prevented your country from having a depression in 2008? You know, we've learned on this show that Russia spends around $90 billion US a year on their military. China is now spending $110 billion, and India is spending $80 billion. So yeah, military needs are great, and like Tom says, everything's made in America. So those are high-paying jobs and provide a lot of benefits. And there's a lot of stuff like the space program, even of inventions and developments of ideas that have come out of all that stuff. So yeah, it's pretty cool.
Okay,
look at the new Humvee, electric car with 1,000. What is it, Tom? 1,000 horsepower. It goes to 0 to 60 in 5 seconds.
3 seconds, actually.
Yeah.
Oh, all right. I just looked that up a few minutes ago, too. 23% of the budget goes to the military people, and there's quite a distortion between the best paid and the worst paid grunts. So it's not as though the military budget is helping the people so breathtakingly. It's a lot of hardware that's going on.
Well, you've also got 3 meals a day for the entire military. You've got clothing for them, and the clothing has to be made in the United States of America because otherwise it'll be duplicated in other countries, for nefarious use. So all military boots, everything from the ground up that any military person wears or carries is made by in the U.S. So,
well, these young men have been doing so much more creative, innovative things, but here they're sitting in barracks waiting for orders. That's kind of a creativity suppressant. Why do we have to have so many waiting around? So many in about.
Because the reason they're waiting around, Daniel, is that when they get out, they can go and get an education. They get a home loan. They can get lots of benefits depending on how long they stay in the military. Also, the other great thing about the military that it's done, it's eliminated, or at least it's eliminated a tremendous amount of boots on the ground. We lost 50,000 people in Vietnam. We've lost barely less than 5,000 in 17 years or 18 years of war in Iraq and Afghanistan. And as Shane and I have said many times, it's time to get out of there and come home.
Yeah. Well, I found out, there are about 190 countries in the world, and over 100 of them we have military people sitting around in. It doesn't make a lot of sense that we have to be an occupying force. We're supposed to be a good example for.
Well, look at what we've done in the countries that we've occupied. We've built things. We've protected American interests and the interests of that country from attack.
We've leveled Iraq and caused a chaos of 2 governments in Libya. That's the downside of it. I won't say that.
Yeah, I would agree with you there. We have no business being there, but we are, and we need to get out. So.
Oh, well, all right. We reached some sort of
agreement on that. Yeah. We don't need to be in these nations. They've been fighting each other for thousands of years, and they'll keep on fighting each other for thousands of years.
Yeah, one last thing that's like the red ants and the black ants. They fight it off. If we step up and say, we're for the black ants, we're with the tweezers going after all the red ants, it's just nature taking its course, and we're trying to play artificial God with it.
Yep. I got to go. Hey, thanks for the call.
Okay, yeah, I've got to thank you.
All right. Let's see, Shane, we got a caller waiting on the line here, and we're going to have to take a break here in about 4 or 5 seconds. So if you'll talk to them, I need to let everybody know we're brought to you by the Club Tavern and Grill. They're voted Bozeman's choice best happy hour. The Club Tavern and Grill offers happy hour specials every day of the week as one of Bozeman's most popular happy hour spots and sports bars. You'll be sure to find something you'll love from their extensive drink and food menu. They also serve breakfast, lunch, and dinner, and a kid-friendly menu is also available. So to place an order for pickup or to make a reservations for a party of 6 or more, go online to theclubtavernandgrill.com, theclubtavernandgrill.com, and check them out. They're in the Best Western Grand Tree on North 7th across from Walmart. It's where the locals go, and tell them Tom and Shane sent you. And we'll be back right after this. But I've got tickets for Weber State on Saturday night at 6 p.m. I've got 2 tickets to give away. 522-TALK is the number. 24 minutes for the top of the hour. It's Tuesday, February 11th, 2020. 13 degrees outside, looking for a high of 35 degrees today. We've got a caller patiently waiting on the phone. Caller, you are on the Morning Soapbox with Tom and Shane. What's up?
So I want to talk about the military.
All right.
So my son was in the military in the Air Force for 7 years.
Mm-hmm.
I know that's a weird number because he changed jobs in the middle, and to change jobs, he had to do an extra year. So because I don't want people calling and go, you can't be in the military for 7 years. Yes, you can.
Okay.
But my son works for a contractor, with a private, civilian contractor.
Sure.
For the military. And a lot of people that go through the military, when they get done with their service, they go get a private contracting job, and that's how they make their living.
Sure.
So, for Dad to say that that the military doesn't help civilians, that's not true. Because a lot of people, after they get out of the military, get a private job and work for the government. So, that's why most of the people that live around military bases is because they can get jobs that actually pay something and have benefits, which is, a lot more than working sometimes for the private sector, because, not all of them can afford the benefits that the military contractors can afford. So,
True.
It does help our economy, does help our people. And so that's all I had to say.
Oh, okay.
It's not all about, guns and things.
That's true.
My son builds communication things in old shipping containers. That's what he does now.
All right.
They put in like all these boards and all this stuff so they can communicate. They put them on a ship, take them over and drop them off. So, there you go.
All
that
right.
helps our economy. And it gets rid of the trash, old shipping containers.
That's true.
Have a good day.
All right. Thanks for the call. All right.
So there you go. Buddy.
Sounds good, Shane.
Yeah. Well, the market opened. The Dow Jones up 31 at 316. Amazing.
Yeah.
Standard Poor's 500 up 8 at 3,300. NASDAQ 100 up 21. The FTSE in England and across the board, the DAX in Germany, CAC in France, FTSE in Italy, all up. Only market in the world that's down is the Nike. So the Tokyo trade is on buying world stocks because that's what they do. And look at commodities. Oil is still off. $50 West Texas, $50.28. Brent in Europe is $54.45. Natural gas, $1.77, heading to $2. And gold is at $15.75, up $1.50, $17.72 on silver. And soybeans, 881, not bad. Wheat, 548. And all the other important things we look at, livestock, live cattle, 119.83. Lean hogs, 55.95 because of China.
Yep.
And we look at the government bond. Wow, look at the U.S. bond, 1.59 10-year. 2.06 on the 30-year. And as we mentioned at the beginning of the show, the euro is down to $1.09 to the U.S. The pound sterling 129, and of course, China's yuan is trying to get back to 7, struggling there because of the traders. The Canadian dollar 132. But the world seems happy today. It's a happy day in the market.
It's a happy Tuesday. Let's take a phone call, see how happy the listeners are. Caller, you're on the Morning Soapbox with Tom and Shane. What's up?
I need some Arizona sun.
All right.
Good morning, good sir. Welcome
Morning
back.
there, Shane. Say, Tom, can I talk about a little things here in the valley that's happening?
Absolutely. Go for it.
Well, do you know where Gallatin Gateway is, don't you?
I sure do.
Okay, they're proposing putting in a gas line and a sewer line across the 2 little channels of the Gallatin River up there. You know where that is?
Oh, yeah.
Okay. Now, if you do that, you're going to disturb the bed in the river in both little channels. The second thing you're going to do is you're going to open up the west side of the Gallatin River there to development. And then you're going to have a couple of pumping stations in there to pump the water into the main line for the sewer. Well, Elk Grove's sewer plant and the one they're building here next to me down here don't have the capacity to take in another big subdivision, a gateway, okay? They haven't got the capacity to treat the water. And so what's happening here is they're putting the cart before the horse. And our sewer plant, when our sewer plant's built here, it's at full capacity. Right. As soon as it's built, it's full capacity of what it'll take. So what's going to happen here is that water is going to go to the West Gallatin River. If they put that sewer pipe in there at Gateway to open up the deal there on the west side of the Gallatin, you're gonna make chaos down here. And I don't think the environmental community will go for dumping their treated water into the West Gallatin River. I know I sure as hell I don't want to. I don't know what everybody else thinks around here.
Where's the DEQ?
I have talked to them, and the DNRC, I have talked to them, and it doesn't do any good. It seems like to talk to them, Tom. And I made it through the 6th grade, and God darn it, I can't seem to get things through to them. It's the damnedest thing you ever saw. The DEQ and the DNRC, as well as the federal government, is involved in a deal like that. Anytime you dig in that river, you're going to have to go for a 404 permit with the federal government.
Yeah.
The Army Corps of Engineers. And then you got to have a local 310 permit also, okay, to dig in it. Okay. I can understand.
Excuse me for one moment.
Yeah.
I just want to mention when they do this, to my knowledge, they never dig through the channel. They always dig down and up and go underneath.
That's right. They're going to go
and they push the pipeline physically underneath from one side to the other, and then dig it up on
You're right.
So they don't really dig up the channel. They don't.
Well, they dig the channel. They break the seal on the river. When they dig through the river and put it down 10 feet, as they say, okay, and put a sewer line. Here's the thing. Here's the problem. The problem is this: when they develop the west side of the Gallatin River, where those farms and ranches are in there. My great-grandfather owned a big chunk of that. And anyway, then they don't have the sewer capacity to take care of it. You see what I'm saying? I can understand a natural gas line in there for the people for their homes so they don't maybe have to buy propane and stuff, but I cannot see any, and then there'll be development alongside of the river, right next to the river because of a sewer line. The law says now you can't do that.
Yeah, it's called progress, I guess.
No, it isn't progress. It's the water. You're going to destroy the water, Tom.
Well,
now, do you want? Let me ask you this.
Yeah, sure.
You and Shane both. Do you want to go to the East Gallatin River below where they dump in the city sewer and drink the water?
Of course not.
Well, why?
Well, I would go back to my original thing. If the water's not safe, then there should be agencies that
like DEQ, maybe.
Yeah, those guys
well,
should.
they don't care. They don't do it.
It's not just human waste either, big guy. You know, all the animals in the forest.
Yeah,
their waste ends up in the river too.
That's right.
That's true.
That's right. Well, when we were young,
we're not just dealing with humans here that pollute the water.
Well, Shane, when we were young folks, when I was young, a long time ago, I could drink out of the Gallatin River. I did. I swam in the Gallatin River. Yeah. We owned a ranch right in the middle of that the Gallatin River runs through, and we swam in it. But you don't dare do it today. And I'm not an environmentalist, but I'm saying this here. There isn't a sewer plant here that'll have the capacity to take care of it. And besides that, they're not really treating it. They're taking the solids out, the human poop. They're taking that out and hauling it to the Logan dump. All the sewer plants here in this valley are doing that.
Well, W.C. Fields, a famous alcoholic, once said, "I don't drink water. Fish have sex in water."
Well, the thing is, it's really once the pipes are put in, okay, the law says you cannot build next to that river, okay? You've got to be so many feet away from it.
Yeah.
Okay, once them sewer pipes are put in, okay, then you'll be allowed because you can hook up to the sewer, no septic. You follow me?
Well, the only other option you have, big guy, is what we do in Canada now, and it's not it doesn't look nice, but they don't build pipelines or gas lines under the river here anymore. They build them across the river.
Yeah, over the top.
So they're they're exposed. Yeah, but it doesn't look very nice. You know,
well,
out in the middle, you're driving down a highway, beautiful valley. You know, nice river.
You'd kind of freeze here. I don't know about Canada, but
well, I've been to Canada, and I know what you're talking about. But the thing what I'm trying to say here, it would be all right if you wanted to put in like Northwest Energy said, they could put a gas line around and attach it to the bridges. Well, that's kind of stupid in a way. I can understand them wanting to bury a gas line and service gas over there for the folks that have homes and stuff. I can understand that. Yeah. But to put a sewer line and 10 foot underneath the ground, I said no. And the big reason is this. We don't have the capacity to treat the water once the subdivisions and other things are put in. That's the whole gist of it.
Yeah, but that's going to be a long time from now.
They told me that there wouldn't be 120,000 people in this county about how many years ago?
Well, yeah. But
and see what happened?
Well, but still you're talking about it. You're talking about a number of years to sell that land and develop it and whatever.
Tom, this land out here is so damn valuable. If you put any of it up for sale, it's gone.
All right.
10 people a day are coming in here, as you know.
Oh, yeah.
Into this valley. And so I'm just saying, they're putting the cart before the horse.
All right, man, I got to go. Hey, thanks for the call.
Man. Appreciate it.
No
Appreciate
problem.
Your time.
Real important public announcement for everyone to hear this. This is important.
Yeah.
The FDA has been thrown out of China. Now, China produces over 80% of the antibiotics, surgical gloves, surgical masks, and surgical tools that now are not being reviewed by the FDA and how they're made. And you need, when you go to your pharmacist and you get antibiotics for your kids, find out where they come from, because no Western country produces antibiotics anymore. They come from India and China. So it's important right now, especially with the flu season, check where they're coming from when you're buying antibiotics, Gallatin Valley, okay?
Well, and the other thing, too, if this virus gets out of control, who do you think is going to, are they going to ship us surgical gloves, or are they going to keep them for themselves?
Exactly. This is
it's a big
one
deal.
Of these things that big deal, yeah.
All right. We got to take a break. We'll be right back. 9 minutes before the top of the hour. I don't know. What are you now? The retired 3-time mayor of Bozeman and former city commissioner.
Average Joe off the street.
Average Jeff is in the house.
Yeah.
Welcome, Jeff and the Mouse. And it's the Tom and Jeff show for local news. Take it away, boys. Enjoy the hour.
Yeah.
Oh.
There's one girl here.
Yeah.
Mouse is in the house.
All right. Let's see. Let me get some texts out of the way here, and then we'll maybe come up the 8 o'clock hour. We'll start dealing with the local city stuff and all that, because we got a lot to talk about. They want a new levy. They want Gosh, they've got, what else have I got here?
The Parks Maintenance District is the thing you guys got to know about.
The park maintenance. Also, Midtown wants $1.5 million. So, yeah, we got a lot to chat about here coming up at 8 o'clock. So
there's no vote on the Midtown, so you won't be asked about that.
Okay. Let's see. Hey, guys, did my taxes yesterday. I was totally shocked. I was totally stoked, sorry. For the second year in a row on my average working guy salary of about $50,000 a year, again, I was able to pay more in income taxes than Bloomberg, Bezos, Trump, and all his cabinet members. A plethora of other billionaires and about 91 Fortune 500 companies in America, all for the growth rate that has still not exceeded 3% GDP in any year since Trump regime has been in power. So proud to be in America and make America great again. Hey, Clint, your buddy Trump is got in water protection laws all across gutted water protection laws all across America. So why do you care about water in the Gallatin? Make America great again. Let's see if somebody is sane here. I don't drink the city water from another person. And let's see, Colonel Vidman's firing was no way to treat a war veteran for obeying a subpoena, especially by a draft dodger who declared that it was payback time for anyone who opposed him. Trump even took revenge on Alexander Vidman's family by firing his twin brother. On Trump's calendar, just 17 intelligence briefings in 85 days. Those have lots of pictures. Trump does not regularly read the written intelligence briefings sent over each day to the White House, and in private, he frequently questions the integrity and intelligence of the intelligence officials who are giving him secret information, relies mostly on nightly calls to Sean Hannity. Well, I think he's already said he doesn't go for the reports every day. They think it's a waste of time to do that each time.
Yeah, let's not forget that Colonel Vindman admitted under, before as a witness, right, that it was insubordinate. I mean, he's like he didn't get court-martialed for what he did.
No, yeah. Well, and if you're unhappy with an employee, you reassign them. He wasn't fired; he was just sent somewhere else.
Mm-hmm.
No, he's still got his rank. He's still got all his benefits. He's still got everything he had before he came to the White House. So what's the big deal? How many times did Bloomberg go bankrupt? Well, I don't know if Bloomberg went bankrupt. Trump never has. So I don't know about that. So yeah. When asked if he wins the primaries, how would you feel about two billionaires running for president? Bloomberg said, "Who's the other one?" Military jobs equal socialism. No? Well, some do, some don't. Military contractors, biggest lobbyists, great return on investment. Yeah, it is pretty good return. Trump cult still triggered over Nancy ripping as if it's the only copy. Just ask Stephen Miller to print another one. So the caller is saying military feeds a socialist industry of contractors. Well, I don't know if that's true or not. Let's take a phone call. 522-TALK is the number. Caller, you're on the Morning Soapbox with Tom and Shane. What's up?
Hey, good morning, guys.
Hey.
Hey, on a lighter note, this is for Daniel and all the other leftists out there.
Mm-hmm.
But we were, my wife and I and the grandkids were playing a kind of a fun card game called Throw Burrito this weekend. But anyway, we were coming up with kind of crazy other games that might be kind of crazy things, and we came up with one for the leftists. It's called "It's Not Fair,"
Okay.
and then the subtitle under that is "Everyone's a Loser."
Oh.
So there you go. We haven't come up with the game yet, but we're working on it.
All right. Sounds like a deal. All right. Thanks for the call. All right. Yeah, that pretty well clears up our calls for the moment. Jeff Krauss is in the house. We're going to be talking with him here shortly. See if I got any other texts here that we need to go through. Oh, let's see. We pay billions for intelligence reports. A waste of time, Trump says. He gets all he needs from Fox and Friends. No, I think he gets all he needs from not meeting with him every single day. But anyway, I don't know. What would you do if you were the president? Would you want intelligence reports every single day?
Yeah, probably.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'd want to know what's going on. I'd want to know what's going on in this world.
You're an accountant. You know?
I am an accountant.
Yeah, you want all the dollars and cents and all the other stuff like that, I guess, don't you? Yeah.
I do.
Yeah. Your dogs.
I'm a little distracted by what my dog might be doing, but she's already been outside. And,
okay, well, good. Yeah. Yeah, she's just looking around.
I think she's looking to see if any guests have dropped any, little bits of chicken biscuit or anything, right?
More likely in here, that's probably possible.
Yeah.
So I don't know, but let's see. We're getting up to the top of the hour here, pretty close to it anyway. And as I said before, we've got to talk about we've got a coronavirus victim in Bozeman, Jeff.
Is that confirmed, or are they just still checking?
Well, they've got them at the hospital quarantine, so they're checking, I guess.
We got a person who's sick who's recently traveled to China.
Yeah.
Okay.
So, and I don't know. I went to the hospital here for a couple of things. Once with the wife, once for me, and just checkup kind of things. And they always ask you, have you been to China? Have you been out of the country in the last 6 months? Where were you?
I have never been to China.
No,
doesn't look like I'm going anytime soon.
I've been close to it.
Yeah, you have.
Haven't actually been there. From our text line 478-8298, he doesn't read reports. A waste of time. Time better spent on executive time, Fox and Friends. All right. Well, good for him. He's the president. He can do what he wants.
Well, anyone thinks that this guy doesn't read anything.
Yeah. Yeah.
They're like right off the rock.
I know. Yeah.
He sleeps 5 hours a night. He's reading stuff all day long.
I would say that's probably the case. All right. Shane, we got a caller. We got a break here for the news, and Jeff Krauss will be up next, so we'll be right back. Hey, if you want to get tickets to the Bozeman Magazine Gala, you need to get on our app chat and text me the word award, and that'll put you in the drawing for 2 tickets on Thursday. Get in there, and we'll give away a couple by phone next hour. 5 minutes after the hour of 8 o'clock, it's Tuesday, February 11, 2020. No, Dr. Dean, I'm sorry. No. No. No, you're not allowed to talk yet. We've got a caller that wants to talk. Let's go to the phones. Caller, you are on the air. I need to be retrained. What's going on?
How you doing today? The winds are starting to blow. Maybe some of the snow is going to move.
Well, that may be.
I had a question for you guys about the Bogart Pavilion.
Yeah.
There was a large gift was bequeathed recently, very generously by a donor, and there were a lot of people were displaced from the pavilion. The farmers market had to move to Lindley Park this last year, and I was just wondering if you had any insights about when the place may be fixed and occupiable again by the market. If this year's out of the question, obviously, or next year, or any insight about how those decisions are made and whatnot. Because it seems like the money's there, I'm hoping, to actually fix it.
You know about that, Jeff?
I do know we budgeted for it in the last budget, but I don't know. It seems like I haven't gone by there to see if there's been any building, but if they haven't started anything on it, I wouldn't expect it to be done this year.
It's just such narrow time windows coming and going, when the weather allows you to actually work. And but we go ahead.
Well, what I was going to say is that one of the pilings broke. Do more than one of them have to be replaced?
Yeah.
Is that's what's going to take so long? Is you're going to have to prop the whole thing up and maybe replace all of the supports around it, or some of them okay still, or
Well, yeah, some of the supports have to be replaced, right? I mean,
yeah.
you've seen the one.
Oh, yeah.
I showed you the picture of the beer can stuck in the rotten
in one of
support,
them. Yeah.
and then there's the one that broke, and then there's another one, I think. So, and they'll pull the sheathing off and change those out, I guess.
Yeah.
I think
I
it's
would
probably
say,
another year. Yeah.
in defense of the Parks Department, it seemed like the weather was a little strange last year in that it didn't really get above 15 degrees for about 36 days, I counted. And I think I got that right. It didn't really fall much during the day, and those lows just kept accumulating. And we're really lucky nobody got hurt down at the university or at the ice rink. It's really quite exceptional. But we were just wondering, and I appreciate your insight about that.
Yeah,
We'll be patient.
Yeah, I think we're all going to have to be patient on that one. Whatever happened last winter, the supports didn't rot last winter. The supports rotted over a long period of time, and they were poorly maintained or not maintained at all. So
it was kind of they maintain the pavilion where the bands perform every now and then, or they have other things on that thing right next to it.
The bandstand, you mean?
Yeah.
Yeah. The bandstand designed by Fred Wilson.
Yeah,
oh my gosh.
One. Yeah, that one.
It seems like the moisture from the rink might have played a role in it too.
Well, I think it probably was piling the snow up. The snow would it was the snow coming up, and then getting around the bases that probably did it. But you could have. It didn't look like to me, and it hadn't looked like to me that any there had been no paint or varnish or
anything put on
spar varnish or anything else put on it for any number of years, and just literally rotted and hadn't been inspected, and it was a problem.
I figure we're darn lucky nobody got hurt at either of these collapses.
Oh yeah,
nobody else got hurt.
Well, in particular, the one up at MSU, they'd had
that was an exercise room, wasn't it? Or
they had games in it the night before, so they were in it till 11 o'clock the night before.
Yeah. So that was pretty fortunate. That would have been a real tragedy if that
would have
happened.
been. Yeah.
So we want to give a little shout out when we have a chance to come out to Lindley Park. We assume we'll be out there again this year on Tuesdays and help support the Bogart Farmers Market and all the good it does for the valley.
Absolutely.
So thanks again for your answers, and we'll keep listening.
All right, great. I appreciate it. Thanks for the call.
Yeah, it argues very much for, here. I mean, I think there's an analogy right now. Everybody talks about infrastructure. Oh, they just found a penny on the street. Well, infrastructure has to be invested in every year, and people in the public and people who want new programs, they don't like to see that their tax dollars are being used to maintain buildings and roads, and they like to see it go to new stuff.
Right.
The new special interest. Well, unless you really start to reinforce us as a public, as taxpayers, this idea that a percentage of the budget every year will go to maintaining what we built already, we will see more of these. I mean, bridge fell into the Mississippi. And, look at what 8th was for so many years, right? South 8th. Yeah. Failure to maintain is one of that is a multi-trillion-dollar debt, structural debt that we all bear in this country, whether it's water, sewer, roads, bridges, structures, all of those things have been epically failed. And when I read that the Board of Regents is saying, well, no, we can't build a building because we have to repair old infrastructure, I'm like, well, I get that, but where were you last year, and the year before that, and the year before that, when UM wanted a building for their athletes to study in, or MSU wanted a building for their athletes to study in? Why weren't you saying no? You get confronted with an academic building and you have the vapors and say, oh, no, we've got to do, we must have infrastructure. Well, I'm sorry. What you must have is a plan to every year put a percentage of your budget into maintaining your infrastructure.
Sure.
Not to come up one year and just turn everything away and, and fall out onto the floor. It was ridiculous watching that exercise.
Yeah. From our text line, 478-8298. Did the Parks Department director get a raise while the Bogart fiasco occurred? Where does the buck stop? Some accountability would be great.
Some accountability would be great. I did not see any.
Yeah.
I'm not even sure I saw. I did. I'll tell you what. You have to admire President Waddell Cruzado. Got up the next day and said, I am very sorry this happened. And we're going to take a look at what we need to do to fix this. And of course, nothing gets you more excited about infrastructure maintenance than having a couple of large, expensive buildings crumble and fall into dust right over people's heads. Yeah. Fortunately, there were no heads in there, but I mean, literally. And I had to see what my dog was chewing on over there.
Your dog's
it's just a Christmas card.
Okay, dog's running around the house. Yeah, that's okay.
She's gotten big. She's not a little puppy anymore. She's a teenager.
Big. Yeah, she's getting big. Yeah,
she weighs almost 8 pounds now.
Oh man.
Anyway, the infrastructure thing, serious problem in the United States of America, and I think the chief luxury of a well-managed city is maintenance of their infrastructure. So when I drive through, I mean, there's states you drive through, and the interstates and the bridges are horrifyingly bad.
Yeah.
Right? Where you just wince every time you drive over a bridge.
Yeah.
And or change lanes. And then there are states where those appear to be fairly well maintained. Cities are the same way. Some cities are just completely full of potholes and crumbling sidewalks.
Yeah.
And if you want to look at crumbling sidewalks, crumbling curbs and gutters, you can look at the old part of Bozeman and see that for decades, those weren't maintained.
Yeah. Well, if you want to see potholes and total destruction of a street, look at the roundabout at Meadowlark School or Meadowbrook School or wherever that is.
You mean at the corner of
Durston and Cottonwood?
Durston and
Ferguson?
Ferguson.
Ferguson, yeah.
Well, yeah. I mean, that is an unfinished thing.
You bet it's unfinished.
There was some kind of let's hurry up and put some 2 inches of slap 2 inches, but it looks like to me even the underlayment is going to have to be fixed at this point.
Yeah.
I don't believe I don't believe back in the late fall they got the job done, but I think everyone the solution, right, was to keep it closed all winter.
Right.
And I don't think anybody wanted that. Yeah. So are they going to slap layer after layer after layer of cold mix into those holes? I believe they are. Yeah.
Yeah, I know. I went around it the other day, and I would have fallen into a pothole, but fortunately there was already a car in it.
Well, there was I saw a hat lying in the road, and I pulled off the hat, and there was a guy underneath that.
Yeah.
And I said, "Here, let me help you out." And he said, "Can you pull my horse out too?"
Yeah, right.
Yeah. Well, anyway, the potholes are bad, but I think as a traffic control, it's working really well.
Yeah.
I mean, I go through there 3 or 4 times a day, and it is working extremely well. So I'm happy about it.
Some of them are doing well, but
I'm happy about the way it's working. I'm just unhappy that we're going to have to do everything 2 or 3 times, and that the taxpayers of the city are liable to write that check.
Well, that's what I was wondering about. The rest of the roundabouts seem to be finished. Why is the one by the high school, they put that in, that's okay. The one at Cottonwood and Ferguson was put in, I think, during that same time.
Well, no, Cottonwood's not finished either.
Not Cottonwood, I keep saying that.
Yeah, Ferguson and Durston. Ferguson and so Cottonwood and Ferguson and Durston are not finished. Both of those streets are not finished. Those are part and parcel of the same effort.
Yeah.
To get everything done by the time the high school opens in the fall.
Yeah.
So, no, they're not done.
No, they aren't. No, we got stoplights started there. at Cottonwood in Ferguson, or Cottonwood.
That's the old. I think that's the old stoplight. Yeah. Obviously you're going from 2 lanes to 4.
Right.
And a number of other changes there. So there'll be a whole different traffic controls there.
Yeah, it's going to be.
But unfortunately, you got a roundabout and then you got a stoplight. It would have been better to have 2 roundabouts, but
yeah,
I don't think they had the room.
Mm-hmm. On Bogart Park, a stitch in time saves 9, and old farmers' wives know this.
Well, when it was built in the 70s, it was a big deal. It was a great thing. We were all very proud of it. It's an iconic building in the city of Bozeman. To let it rot for decades is inexcusable.
Yeah. How true that is. All right. Let's see. Let's take a call and see what the callers have to say. Caller, you on the air. What's going on?
Hi, I'm just wondering, we talk about infrastructure and Bozeman in particular. What's the conversation recently about a local sales tax, even like a 2% sales tax, to grow this city the proper way? And I think we could have a lot of great things if, obviously, me as a resident would be paying tax every day, but with the tourist dollars we have here, what are the thoughts on imposing some sort of local sales tax?
Well, it has to go to the voters, does it not?
First of all, it's illegal.
Yeah.
That's the first thing. You should stop right there. Bozeman, it's illegal for Bozeman to attempt to impose a sales tax. It's against state law. Okay, that's the first thing.
So it'd be a statewide change then?
There has to be a change at the legislature. Second, it's a beer and burger tax, essentially, on the locals. It's not a tax paid by tourists. It's a tax paid by locals.
Yeah, we're here 12 months a year.
A different set of locals or a different kind of tax. And third, I don't believe for a second that we have a taxing problem. I think we have a spending problem. So I don't support writing another, just writing another blank check to the city of Bozeman so that they can do whatever they do, which may or may not include infrastructure. Now, if you dedicated the whole thing to some kind of infrastructure and sunsetted it, put it in front of the voters, maybe they would buy that. But sales taxes have failed in this state a number of times.
Yeah.
And that's because, we did, by the way, the legislature did vote to allow the imposition of a higher gas tax, which is a consumption tax like a sales tax. And we did get a portion of that. So I got to go take care of my dog, I guess. I think the other commissioners, maybe all 5 of the new commission, they're gung-ho on a sales tax because it just means that much more money they get to spend.
That's it. All right. Hey, thanks for the call. I got to take a break, and we've got to get the dog under control. So I got to use my bark button, I guess. I don't know. We'll be right back. Hey, thanks for the call. 24 minutes after the hour, excuse me, Jeff Krauss is in the house, former city commissioner and 3-time mayor of Bozeman.
Yeah, there's this old saying that says, "Don't tax me, don't tax thee, tax the man behind the tree."
Right.
Look, there is no man behind the tree. If you want good infrastructure, you have to pay for it.
You got to pay for it.
I have to pay for it. We have to pay for it. We are here. This is it. We are on our own. Right? It's a shining ball of blue here, and we ride on it every day, and this is it for us. So. It's a small town that we live here in Bozeman, and if we want something done, then we have to pay for it. And this idea that we could get a sales tax, which would make we're not really a resort town in the same way that Big Sky or we don't qualify now, so it's illegal now. And we're a middle class town. We're not a resort town. Where overwhelmingly the tourist spending is the biggest driver, like a West Yellowstone, like a Red Lodge, like a Innis. That isn't the kind of town we are, like a Whitefish. And so, the resort idea, I think, is a fallacy. We would end up taxing the single mother taking her kids to McDonald's. That's what we would be taxing with a sales tax.
All right. The chair recognizes Shea Matobin from Vancouver.
You guys should look at Canada. We have a service tax, the GST. And if you're a parent buying food or clothing, they pull out a board, you sign it, phone number, they write down the amount, they don't tax you. So, there are answers to these things if people have concerns. It's not as simple. It's simple to deal with in the 21st century.
Let me retort. Well, allow me to retort. In Canada, they also tax foreigners who own property in Canada more than they tax Canadians. Both of those ideas, the one I talked about and the one Shane advanced, are illegal in the United States of America due to something called the Equal Protection Clause.
Right, under your Constitution.
That's right. So we have a constitutional prohibition. In the old years ago, Florida tried to say if you bring a out-of-state car in and register it, you have to pay a $500 fee.
Yeah.
Supreme Court said, "Oh no,
no,
we're all Americans here, right?"
Okay, let's take a phone call. 522 Talk is the number. Caller, you on the air. What's up? Hello.
Hello, I'm here.
What's up?
Hey. Okay, I have this question. It's an important question. What I'd like to know is if you figure out how much money the state cut from property tax, and then you abolish it, and you had to spread that onto a sales tax, how much would that sales tax be? It just seems like a more fair tax. Because with all the farmers we have here that are all land rich but money poor, and they're taxed on the land, you never really own your land because the government owns it even after you pay off your mortgage because you still owe the tax. And if you don't pay the tax, they're going to take away your house. So how much sales tax would it require on most goods and services if they abolish property tax?
So I believe it's more than the 4% constitutional limit. So there is a limit in the state of Montana. It can't be higher than 4%. And the other thing, is that property taxes generally pay for local government and state and schools, and income taxes in general pay for state. And so a sales tax collected by the state, well, then you'd have to come up with some distribution plan for how that was. It would be difficult.
It's all money. You can spend it wherever you want. You can decide. How much money does the state get from
more than the 4%?
Tax,
I think I answered that.
How much would they get from sales tax? Mm-hmm. And just if they can get enough from sales tax, then they should just get away with land tax. That's just common sense.
Yeah.
Don't tell me, we can't spend it there, we can't spend it here. Well, who made those rules? Well, we did. So we can change those.
Yeah, you'd have to go to the legislature and get the 4% raised,
and the voters.
Yeah, and the voters would have to approve that too.
I want to know exactly how much is it going to be sales tax to get rid of property tax. I mean,
well, that sounds like a great research project for you. I wish you well.
Yeah. I've got to go. I'll answer that for you when we come back after the bottom of the break here. So stay tuned for that. Yeah, we got Fox News, Montana State News, Brooke Foster weather, and some other messages. We'll be right back with more with Jeff Krauss and Shane and me right after this. Welcome back, everyone. We've got a caller patiently waiting on the line. Let's go to the phones. Caller, you're on the air. What's going on?
Hey, Tom.
Yeah.
Yesterday, I had a nice young lady call me with a survey on sales tax.
Okay.
And she didn't say it was sales tax. She just did the usual. What's your party affiliation? How old are you? You know, and so they beat around the bush for quite a while, and then it became very apparent that it was a sales tax questionnaire.
Mm-hmm.
And so the first couple questions were, do you think we need a sales tax? Well, I said strongly no. You know, and so then they started wiggling from every possible angle. Well, would you agree with a sales tax if we got rid of your property tax? It's like, no. Would you agree with sales tax if we gave it to all the schools? No. And I mean, they took it from every which way they could to try to get me to say something positive for a sales tax. And I know how they say statistics can dance to whatever tune you want. Well, I'm sure they're trying to get some angle that they could use to create a statistic that said, see how much support there is for a sales tax.
Yeah.
And when I got done with the call, I gave the lady a quick brief summary of my overall philosophy as far as politicians and stuff. But the main one was there is not a sales tax out there that I think that the politicians 10 years from now will honor. Just like in the 30s, they swore that Social Security would never be used as an identification number. Well, we know how that went. And so if they get 3% now, 10 years from now, none of the guys in office will be will have to hold on to the promise they make today on how high the sales tax will go. So once they get their foot in the door, it's just going to keep climbing on the whims of and needs of government. And just as a final little tidbit, I called Iowa to make reservations for a motel for Labor Day, and the nice lady at the desk said, "Okay, it'd be $109." And I said, "Well, how much is that? Does that include the taxes?" She goes, "No." Well, the taxes brought it up to $124. So you had $15 of tax on that motel room. And if you've ever rented a car, the taxes they jack on at the airport are incredible.
Oh, yeah.
And so sales tax is not a perfect solution. And I know Shane said that you can fine tune it to where it targets the people you want to hit. But like you guys are saying, the city is not a resort of sorts where the bulk of the money is coming in with sales tax. So anyway, that's my comment.
Okay.
Appreciate it.
All right. Hey, thanks for the call.
Thanks for the call.
Yeah. Caller, you're on the air. What's going on?
Hey, nice to hear that the head bean counter is in the room.
That's right. Yeah. Yeah.
Well, I've got a problem-solving technique for everybody's problems, and you got to get your pencil and paper out. That's in your pocket protector there, Jeff.
Yeah. Thanks.
But here's my take on this. Don't let 5% of the problem get in the way of 95% of the solution. And if you attack a problem today with that little formula, and tomorrow you have the 5% remainder and you apply it to that again, in 4 days you'll have no problem.
I'm following you.
Yeah.
So isn't that the solution to things?
Yeah. Why don't we just take a penny and double it every day?
There you go. Yeah.
In a month we'll have the debt paid off.
Jeff, how many times have you sat till late at night listening to people say, the problem is really complicated, and we're going to work on it, and for decades it's still working on it.
Yeah, many times.
And
yes.
that's because this little formula isn't utilized.
Well, I will say this. Generally speaking, ideology gets in the way of solutions. And that's probably the biggest thing is the actual solutions are things that people don't want to hear about, right? It doesn't fit their philosophy. And so, the idea that I just talked about, that we don't have a taxing problem, we have a spending problem, and we could certainly control our spending better, and I could give you numerous examples, is just not one that the ideologues want to hear. And so, because there is always another group that shows up, maybe it's the people that want pickleball courts, and they're a special group, and they want pickleball courts, and the government should provide them, and so that's more spending. And every time, it's more spending. And if you're gonna and so when I talk solutions, they're very simple. They're generally prioritize your spending, look at what's most important, and spend on those. And the rest of them,
wait.
The rest of them can wait. Yeah.
But wouldn't you agree that finding a 100% solution to a problem means that somebody is out of a job, their salary is. They're not needed anymore because this problem's been solved.
Well, there's probably entire consultant industries out there that go away, right?
Yeah.
I would hope they would.
Yeah.
Shane and I'd be out of work.
Suddenly there would be numerous consulting firms that just wouldn't have anything to do.
Nothing
then.
to consult on.
But I was glad that we hired a consulting firm to tell us that the lights, the street lights, were too tall, too bright, and the wrong color, and trespassed on other people's property, because no one that lives in the west side of town could have possibly told you that.
Yeah.
Right?
Shane and I could have told you that for half the price.
Yeah, exactly. I told him that for free.
Yep.
All right. Hey, thanks for the call.
Yeah, thank you.
I got to take a break here.
And it's a little levity, too. I appreciate that.
Yeah, Shane, we got a caller on the line. We'll be right back. 15 minutes before the top of the hour. We got a caller waiting patiently on the line. Let's go to the phones. Caller, you are on the air with Jeff Krauss. What's up?
Hey, good morning. I just want to think logically here.
All right. That'll be a change for this show.
We have a land tax, property tax right now. And one of the arguments I heard is, well, we can't have a sales tax because they never hold to it. It always goes up. Well, let me tell you, my property taxes every year go up.
They do, yeah.
So nobody seems to notice that. But a property tax isn't as fair as a sales tax because only those who own property pay property tax. But everybody pays a sales tax, and those who spend more pay more tax. And those who spend less pay less tax, and those who come to visit our state also help contribute by paying sales tax. So if we could just get rid of property tax, then the farmers wouldn't have to go give away half their farms when they die or sell them, and it would be a much more equitable tax. That's all I have to say.
All right. Thanks for the call. I appreciate it. Let's see. Why do we need a sales tax to abolish property taxes? I would prefer replacing income taxes. And I think you're in favor of doing that as well.
Getting rid of income tax.
Yeah, getting rid of the income tax. Why do we need to replace property taxes? I would suggest a gradual property tax for residential. The older you are owning your primary residence, the less property tax you pay, up to a total exemption. Commercial property should not be exempt, and that's what
we've talked about that too.
Yeah, that was my proposal. That if your home does not produce income, then it should be non-taxable, and over
after a certain time, right? Because otherwise, you got kids in there that are going to school. And
you can't
getting in trouble.
Well, you wouldn't be able to stop it immediately, but let's say over a 10-year period. You and I talked about property taxes anywhere from $2,000 to $4,000 a year, depending on the size of your property or whatever. But if it's your primary residence and it doesn't produce income, over 10 years, you have $2,000 to $4,000 additional dollars to spend on products and services. And over that same period of time, income producers like the downtown merchants could slowly raise taxes to offset the additional burden of property taxes on them.
So years ago, the utilities used to pay 12%. They paid a very high rate.
Yeah.
And that kept all our property taxes lower. And there was a lot more industrial property and mining, and so residential property taxes were lower. But residential property taxes have carried a larger and larger burden. And one of the reasons for that is the Supreme Court said you cannot treat classes of property but so differently, right? And so the utilities claimed they were being treated too differently, and the Supreme Court agreed. So you do have to watch yourself. Again, the Equal Protection Clause treats us all equally and requires government to treat us all equally. And that's an issue, right? That is an issue. That was an issue for Florida, who wanted to charge that $500 on those out-of-state cars. That's an issue for people who say, well, you could just show that you are from Gallatin County and then you wouldn't pay the sales tax. Nope, you wouldn't be able to do that. And so, we get into these strange things. I think one of the things that we miss is all of the out-of-state property owners would immediately reap a huge reward. So the people that own hundreds of thousands of acres in Montana, billionaires who own hundreds of thousands of acres, would see their property taxes go to zero, while the rest of us would start to pay on every purchase we made.
Yeah.
And I think that that's one of the reasons I mean, we see through that, right?
Yeah.
Most of us see right through that.
Well, in the 100,000s of acres, though, they're producing income, so they wouldn't qualify for them.
Unless they're just a hobby farm,
Well, if they're producing income of any kind, they would be taxable on the value of the property.
Sure.
Whether it's $1 or whether it's
they're and I guess the other thing I would say is agricultural property is taxed at a very different rate.
Yeah, that would stay the same.
Very different rate than a residential property.
Yeah.
So before we go, Jeff, I want to solicit your support for our solution to the student debt in the U.S. of $1.7 trillion. Most of it, all of it's owed to the U.S. government. So our suggestion is that the government or the president, he can do this by executive order, cancel any interest charges. So all they're doing is paying their principal. And work out some general guidelines like you pay 1% for 2 years, and we'll co-sign a loan for you to buy a house and combine it with your mortgage and solve the problem. What do you think about that? No interest charges to students on their loans.
Well, I paid my student debt off.
They're going to pay their debt off.
People say, "Okay, boomer," when I tell them that, right?
Yeah.
And it's all true,
Yeah.
right? But the people who've worked hard and paid their student debt off, what do you do for them?
Yeah. You give them their interest back?
You give them their interest back?
I'm not trying to create another one. I'm trying to solve a problem by suggesting
I know.
that you don't charge them interest so that it's easier for them to pay it off, and because they can't go bankrupt, as you know, and they're not part of the system, the commerce. They can't afford homes and so forth. So overall, the idea is to solve the problem overall, to get them into a home and get them into society and thinking about having a family, getting married. That's all. I just thought I'd ask you and see what you thought. But that's good. I know what you think.
Yeah, you do.
Okay.
Personal responsibility first. And never borrow money than more money for your than your first year's salary.
Yeah.
So if you're going to be a doctor and you're going to get $200,000 or whatever, there you go.
Yeah.
If you're going to be an English teacher and you're going to make $25,000, there you go.
Yeah.
Right. Don't get 3 degrees and sling hash and complain about your student debt, right?
Yeah.
I mean, those are problems. Also, I think that's one. I think all of that should be institutionalized. And so you come to school and you say, well, I want to borrow money to go to school. And the school says, well, we're now on the hook for if you fail to pay your debts, right?
Yeah.
So, I mean, that's why when you go in and borrow money for a car, you get evaluated a little bit more, right? You borrow money for a house, you have to show that you got some income to back it up. I think the schools have to be on the hook for the way they've administered. Just sign here and keep going to school. That just doesn't work for me. So I think a couple of things we do to stop it now, and then we start looking at yours and Shane's solutions on the people who have borrowed $200,000 and don't want to work.
Yeah.
Well, there's plenty of people that borrow the money and they're just like, well, I can never pay it off, so I'm not gonna. Every time I go to work, they take all the money out of my paycheck. That does happen, right?
Oh yeah.
And there's a cycle where what happens is you get out, you have your debt. Sorry.
That's okay.
And then you go back to school and it stops the debt, but you're borrowing more money.
Yeah.
It stops the debt payments, but you're borrowing money. So then you get out a second time. So there are some things that are going on now in the higher education that need to stop.
Okay. Got to take a break. From our app chat line, get rid of state income tax, start a sales tax so it's fair for everyone, because the people paid cash under the table will be taxed when they buy goods and services. So there you are. All right, we got to take a quick break. Rush Limbaugh wants to talk to you, so Shane's on the line. We've got a caller waiting, Shane, and we'll be right back. Here's Rush. 2 minutes before the top of the hour. Let's get a phone call in real quick, then Shane's got to say goodbye. Caller, you're on the air. What's going on?
Well, I have to agree with Jeff there. Shane and I have been talking about this. I've got 2 points to make. The first one is, it seems like we keep talking more about student loans and how to make them easier and how to forgive them and how to make it so our young people don't have to pay them back. And I don't hear really any emphasis at all on helping them save money for their future. It's goes right along with this instant gratification generation.
Yeah.
Now I forgot my second point. Darn it. Shane, what was it that I told you?
Oh, well, you were talking about personal responsibility and the fact that people have to take that on.
Well, people are. I'm sorry.
That when we go through life, like Jeff said, hey, I had to pay my student loan back, and so did I. I went to school and I paid it back, and I'm making money and all that sort of thing. But then we turn around and we want to make it easier for our kids. Instead of saying, this is what made me, was working hard, we go, oh, I don't want my kids to have to work that hard. Anyway.
Yeah. Heaven forbid.
You know, one of the things that you see is that it takes 6 years to get out of college now. And people are borrowing the money to live a certain lifestyle for 6 years, the go into college lifestyle. It's a party every day, and it's fun. Mm-hmm. And, you know, borrowing the money to live that life, it's not for tuition all the time. It's for living expenses. And now we want to forgive that party and lifestyle, 6-year party and lifestyle. It'd be one thing if they were borrowing the money, getting out in 4 years, and making an effort to pay it back.
All right. We got to
go. Thanks for being in the house. Look forward to tomorrow and talking to you, Mayor. Live in the moment, live to work, be happy, be safe. God bless the people of the Gallatin Valley. Goodbye.
All right, man. Thanks, Shane. All right. All right, Jeff, we're out of time. Hey, thanks for coming in. We appreciate it.
Remember, the Parks and Parks Maintenance District vote's coming up, and if you live in the state of Montana and you own property in Bozeman, you get to vote.
Yeah.
And we're going to talk about that next week. Only that.
Okay. All right. Sounds like a deal. All right. Thanks to Shane. Thanks to Jeff. Thanks to all the listeners, texters, app chatters, everybody out there. And we'll see everybody bright and early Wednesday morning, 6 a.m.